The following is a Joel Michalec production. The following episode of the Joel Michalec Show takes place between 8 p.m. and 9 p.m.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Joel Michalec Show. Is that better?
Much.
I'm Joel Michalec, and I am across the studio from.
I need a cell phone just to talk to you.
It's pretty far away.
It is. It's pretty far away.
We're usually in tight quarters, but we're down the beach, and so we're in the Mobile One studio.
Yes.
I think is what we called it last time.
Yes,
So,
it is.
And so we're a little further apart.
Yeah.
But that's all right. Who are you, though?
I am the lovely Sharon.
The lovely Sharon. So welcome,
with
everybody.
the lovely Molly.
Yeah, the lovely Molly, who just came in from a walk, so she is tuckered.
Yes, she is.
So, all right. Well, we're glad everybody's here.
Yeah, right?
It's a beautiful weekend.
I'm very glad. And you know what? In front of me, I don't have paperwork like you do.
I have a strew of paperwork over here.
I have freshly cut pineapples.
But that's not your typical.
And-
That is not your typical fruit topping because you didn't get it from the Acme. That's how we say it from Delco.
Right. I didn't get it from Acme. I got it from the local grocery store.
So the question is,
No. Mm.
that was the question.
Not even close.
It doesn't even compare, folks.
Nope.
Okay, good. We got that straightened out.
Right.
And that's why there's less fruit than there is fruit dip. Because it's not as good.
The heavenly dip. It is what the name says it is. It is a heavenly dip.
All right. There you
Yes.
go. So, point of reference, and if you hang out at the Facebook page at JM Talk, I posted a video today about 20 minutes ago. While you were shopping. Just talking about the situation with the accidents this week. We were delayed a little bit coming down here.
I know.
Which wasn't too bad. That's not what I'm saying. But we were delayed because a little bit prior to us coming down, you texted me at work and said that there was a rollover crash on Route 1. So traffic was being diverted to the other arteries.
Right, and that's the second rollover accident
On
in
Friday.
as many days.
No, that's the second one Friday.
Oh.
And the third one that I know of this week on Route 1, rollover crash.
Wow.
I just don't understand what people are doing. I mean, they have to pay attention. You have to pay attention. You have to
Maybe
stay
they
alert.
can't afford it.
They have to stay alert.
Absolutely.
So why?
Stay alert. Stay off your cell phone.
And arrive alive.
Absolutely.
I wish I could say I made that up, but I didn't. I actually stole that. I didn't steal it. I heard it on a commercial, and years ago, I don't know if it was trademarked, but hell with it. I'm used to it.
Right.
But so that was my point. And I put out a real quick video just saying the same thing. Hey, we're down here. We're safe. But, it's becoming such, I don't want to say a chore, but to drive. But, everyone ends up having to take extra precaution. And obviously, when there's a multi-car accident, it doesn't really help if you're in the vicinity of whatever's happening and you get drawn into it, but it causes everyone else to pay even more attention, work harder at it.
Absolutely.
And it's not good. So
no, not at all.
So on the video I put out, if you saw it already, I'm hashtagging a couple things, hang up and drive, hashtag hang up and drive. Now, hang up and drive is an old campaign that we started on the Behind the Mic show many years ago, and I'm bringing it back over because, that's one of the things that changed, right? The technology of being able to have these cell phones at your behest,
right?
And so people are preferring to look at that while they're driving. Not good.
I just don't understand how you're in control of a 2-ton piece of machinery. How you can divert your attention somewhere else.
Right.
I don't get it.
And that's the thing. Excuse me. I was just taking a drink and it went down the wrong. So, but
That's gotta suck.
so I said, what? Hang up and drive.
Hang up and drive, yes.
Pay attention and drive safely were the 3 hashtags that I created
Yes.
with the video. So
Good.
so just putting that out there. So please be safe. If you don't want to do it for us, be safe for yourself and your family.
Right.
Do it for your dog. Your dog won't understand when you don't come home.
Right. He'll just be sitting by the door
Yeah,
waiting.
you're gonna make yourself cry. But go ahead, keep going with that.
Right. No, I'm gonna stop.
Okay. All right. So one of the things I wanted to mention today is an interesting post I ran across on Facebook. So yeah, that's right. We don't always just pull news and talk about it, although most of it is silly news and news that we think you can use. This was a post that I thought was really interesting, and it's from somebody's Facebook called Emily Long, My Fit Life, and they are talking about being that it's officially grilling season. They wanted to bring up an experience in 2015. And they feel it says it's my responsibility to share the danger of wire bristled grill brushes. 3 years ago, I took one bite of a burger and immediately felt like I had swallowed glass. I felt a sharp stabbing pain in the back of my throat. The more I swallowed, the more it dug. I started gagging and choking, throwing up, trying to drink water to wash it down, and still the pain in the back of my throat wouldn't go away. So with her son in the bathtub and her husband frantically trying to help, she decided she needed to take a trip to the ER. I could tell it wasn't going anywhere on its own. Once we finally got in, this was the culprit. And she has a picture of it. It's a wire grill brush bristle.
Wow.
So, needless to say, it freaked us all out since both my husband and son also had eaten a burger, and it easily could have been done to theirs. So, I'm not going to read the entire post, but what this brings to mind is what they're saying is that you have to be careful. There's a lot of grill brushes that are weak.
Right.
And they're also suggesting you use nylon ones instead of the wire ones. Some other suggestions for cleaning your grill was using balled up foil or the green pads. And then here's the thing.
Right.
Here's the thing. Like, we use copper sheets.
Exactly.
And now this is not the reason why. The reason why we use the copper sheets is we use an alternative because maybe it's because we don't use or we don't maintain properly our grill. We don't use it as much or we don't properly maintain it, but our grates constantly rust.
Yeah.
So even washing them, it just happens. I don't know if it's the air. Could be. Last couple of years been very moist in this area, so it could be that.
True.
But we use the copper sheets to cook everything on the grill. Washable. We wash them a couple of times. We throw them out. They're not all that expensive.
No.
And then we just actually talked today about I told you I want to get a grill pan, and that's another thing. It's cast iron or Teflon or steel or copper or whatever, and you put it on the grill, and then you put your food on that. It's washable, reusable. And it keeps it clean and neat. You don't have to worry about grease going down in the burners.
Right.
And the reason I mention that is because with this problem with this lady and other people who on the comments, a lot of people have the same problem. ER doctors saying that it's a common issue.
Right.
It's not just like making sure it's not on the...
and that surprises me that it's a common issue.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah, it surprised me. I mean, I never heard of it. I mean, we used to cook on a plane. I mean, we actually even before the copper, we would cover with foil, heavy duty foil, and cover the grates.
Right. And I'd like to think a lot of people do that. Use the foil.
Yeah, I would hope. But here's the thing: it's not so much did you clean the grate and leave bristles on there and it gets in the food. They're saying, when the grease goes down and it flares up. They're saying that the bristles down there will flare up with that fire and end up adhering to the bottom of your food.
Really?
So if not the copper sheets, I want to get a grill pan. I don't ever, ever, ever want to even think that we would have this problem.
I
But
know.
here's the
I know.
issue. Also, there are people commenting this story that have had this problem at restaurants.
Oh no.
So that's crazy. So yes, it's grilling season. So you better watch out. You better not pal. Cover your grill with something else. I tried to make a rhyming song and I couldn't.
Right.
But I tried.
I was trying to do some quick goat thinking about a word that would rhyme with that, so I can
I get an A
spew
for
it in.
We get A for effort, so. So where's
Excuse
my
me.
voice going?
I don't know.
But anyway, so yeah, so that's the summer season. That's the grilling season. We just actually had some amazing Angus burgers tonight,
I know.
cooked on copper,
Right?
the copper
I'll
sheets.
tell you, we just started eating Angus burgers.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's been around for a while, but we never have eaten it. And now that we
Yeah.
have, like, I would listen. If we were making our own burgers every night, I would eat burgers every night if they were Angus burgers. They're really good.
Well, you can buy Angus ground beef,
Yeah, I had heard that.
and you can make your own Angus burgers.
Well, yeah, but that, how long have we been saying for years, seriously, that we were going to make our own burger patties? And when have we ever? We might have about 10, 15 years ago.
I think that you and I, are the world's best procrastinators.
Let me think on that. Give me a minute to think about that.
Yeah, right?
On doing things that we want to do.
Yeah.
Not doing things that we have to do so much.
Right, exactly.
But definitely doing things that we want to do, we procrastinate on.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Hey, Molly.
but yeah.
How you doing, Molly?
Also,
I'm sorry.
being that it's summer, a couple of other things. We also understood this week. So if you're from the New Jersey or the Delaware, even Eastern Shore, Maryland, you should be aware that there is a flesh-eating bacteria that is hit in the area, and they're saying is because the water is warmer than usual, it's allowing this flesh-eating bacteria into these waters. So they're talking about it affects eating seafood from these areas, like from the Delaware Bay,
Right.
or if you're in the water where bacteria would be at, and you have like an open wound, and it gets in there. And the silly thing about that is,
Oh,
you're gonna say, yeah, the
you're
wound
gonna
thing.
say what
You have to be
I'm gonna
afraid.
say.
You have to cover up because you have to be afraid if you have an open wound and you want to go in the beach water. But when we were kids, our parents were like, "Oh, you got to cut ingrown toenails. Go into salt water.
Yeah, go into salt water. That'll take care of it.
Now it'll kill you.
Exactly.
It will eat the flesh right off your body." Flesh.
That's like some kind of horror movie.
Yes, it is. It is. So there she goes into her little
Cootie.
Mobile Studio One doghouse underneath the studio board. But that was the trick to healing cuts faster.
Yeah.
Go into salt water, wash it out with salt water. In fact, folks, in 1996, I cut my finger with a fish hook. It was rusty, but I didn't think anything of it. I was in my head. I was listening to my mother and father say, "Put salt water on it." And I ran down. I was at the pier here in Lewis, and I ran down to the water, and I washed it out with salt water, and I wrapped it with a Band-Aid. At the time, I was working at McDonald's, so about 3 days after I washed it out with salt water and put a Band-Aid on it, I was wrapping cheeseburgers, and suddenly I could not use my right hand. Middle of the shift, middle of wrapping a cheeseburger, right hand stopped working, and I had this red line going down the finger that I had to cut on. So I was like, I should go to the emergency room. Septicemia. I spent a week in a hospital with IVs in me after they lanced open my finger and like dipped it in this solution to get. I mean, they cut it all open. and dipped it, and then of course
Wow.
IVs, and I spent a week there, and it was not good. So, just something about rusty water, I'm sorry,
Sea salt.
about salt water,
Right.
because apparently it's not as safe as it used to be, just like
All
anything
right.
else.
Well, it's all those billions and billions of fish and peeing and pooping in the water.
Right.
And then
Keep a happy thought.
us humans dumping garbage in there.
How much seawater did you swallow when you were a kid? When you were in the, you know what I mean? A
Oh,
wave
I
comes
know,
up,
right?
and now think of all that fish poop
Yeah,
and
right.
stuff. So,
Ew.
ta-da!
That is so gross.
Well, hey.
So gross.
So anyway, that's. I thought there was one other thing about summer. Oh, of course, the ticks. The ticks are out of control.
Oh my goodness.
The ticks are out of control. We actually we know somebody related to us who was being tested last week for Rocky Mountain spotted fever
What?
and Lyme disease because he was bitten like 30 times
Oh no.
cutting grass at his dad's house.
That's right, you were telling me about that.
30 bites.
Wow.
And there's all these different varieties and all these new diseases and new things to watch out for, and you know.
Exactly.
So here's a tip for you consumers. Molly, this is not the time. Here's a tip. We just picked up a couple of the masking tape style lint rollers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so if
you know, when you said something about that, I was like, what?
Well,
but it makes sense.
Yeah, if you go walking in an area that's known to be infested or whatever, we're keeping them in the van. And that way you can, before you get in your van, you grab the lint roller and you can rub your pants, your shoes, your shirt, and it's funny, I heard that and didn't think of it, but last season, while we were here one time, you recall, I saw somebody lint rolling his wife's back of the shirt, and I'm like, what are they doing? And apparently they knew about that trick. Right. And it'll roll off the ones that are on your clothes, just walking around looking for places to dig in. Molly really wants to get on the show.
What are you doing?
I don't know.
She really wants to be on the show.
I know. She had her food. She has her drink.
Right.
So I don't know. And she just came in from outside.
Do you hear her, everyone, talking to us?
Oh, yes. I'm watching the audio meters. They are going to hear her talking, yes.
Wow.
She's making her presence known.
So what do I do?
I don't know.
What do you want?
But anyway, so with ticks, there's a tip for you. Keep these masking. I got them I got the gigantic ones, 2 for $3 at a dollar store. Right. And you just roll them across. Now we haven't done that yet, and ever since we got them though, like a week ago, every morning when I walk her at the park, I'm like, should I rub? Of course, I'm wearing dark black pants or I'm wearing jeans, and you just don't know. So, anyway, as we end this segment, I do realize that I did not let people know how to get in touch with us, and I think that's just because I was I'm very comfortable.
Yeah, right?
So
everyone,
the website,
this is how you get in touch with us.
Yes, the website is jmtalk.net. That's jmtalk.net. Of course, you can go there. You can subscribe to the podcast, and you should. You should subscribe to the podcast because a new one drops every Sunday. Also, you can watch the 24/7. Well, not watch. You can watch the YouTube, but you can tap into the 24/7 stream of all Joel Michalec shows, and also you can join us at Facebook at JM Talk. Also, we're at Twitter at JM Talk Radio. That's the official stuff, and we are going to escape the confines for a minute here while we take a quick break, so we can see what this noisemaker wants.
Right.
So we'll be right back after this quick break.
Celebrate your 4th of July with Old Time Radio USA's annual Yours Truly Johnny Dollar 4th of July Marathon. 36 hours of your favorite action-packed insurance investigator with the Action-Packed Expense Account, beginning July 3rd at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, right here at the home of your favorite classic old-time radio broadcast, WOTR in Indianapolis, Old Time Radio USA.
This is New York's Super Oldie Station, 920 WON, The Apple, Brooklyn, New York.
So I use my computer every day. I'm not even sure how I get along without it. But I wasn't prepared for a virus. A Trojan, they called it. One night I'm cruising along, and the next night I can't do anything. I was afraid it was going to cost me a fortune. Boy, was I surprised. They had me back up and running the same day I called them. I really like PC Tech Rescue, and you know what? My wallet likes them too.
Are you troubled by computer problems? PC Tech Rescue should be your very next call. Whether the problem is viruses, hardware, software, or any other issue, they can diagnose your problem and have you back up and running fast. With more than 25 years of industry experience, you can be sure you are getting dependable and affordable service. Call today, 484-429-6061, or email us at pctechrescue@gmail.com.
Welcome back to the podcast, everybody. Joe Michalec here with the lovely Sharon.
Yes, I am here.
We think Small and Furry is taken care of. We don't know where she is. We won't say the name because
Yeah,
her we
that
don't
might
speak of.
the name that we do not say.
Right. The web address is jmtalk.net, so stop on by. Also come by Facebook and see us at JM Talk. Twitter at JM Talk Radio. So one of the things that I want to bring up, and it's interesting, folks, because I really don't tell Sharon anything we're going to talk about.
He really doesn't, people. So when he brings up a topic, I am just as surprised as you are.
Well, there's something to be said about the element of surprise with, your co-host.
Yeah, I guess.
So this one, interesting. It comes out of Australia. I don't know if you remember hearing about this, but a cafe called Handsome Her Cafe in Melbourne, Australia. I think back in 2017, they had opened up, and one of the things that gave them a firestorm on social media, a firestorm of attention, was the fact that they were charging 18% man tax to men that came into the cafe.
Okay.
And what happened was, so now in 2019, a mere 2-ish years later, they are closing.
Well, let's figure out why.
Right.
I mean, for real, you can't do that.
In a statement, it was confirmed that the eatery will close on they closed on the 28th of April. In a statement posted on the cafe's Facebook page, the bosses said they had hoped to make a stir by way of brazen public discussions of structural inequality and oppression, but they were shocked when their plans blew up on the internet.
Okay.
The statement continues, "We've never shied away from controversy in the spirit of social justice, and it seems fitting that we go out in the same style in which we came in. A whirlwind of sad, angry male tears." I mean, here's the thing. Here's the thing. So, it doesn't matter. I mean, the owners of the cafe they proclaim very publicly that they're lesbian, and they were doing this man tax because of the way women were oppressed and kicked down. And I mean, I think what I want to convey is I think what they didn't count on is not every woman was going to agree with that.
Yeah.
They may have offended a lot of women because of the man tax as well. It's not just that if they expected to have all this business from just women, I think that's where they were maybe sadly mistaken.
I agree. I do, because if I were going in there with you, being my husband, or even if I was just going with a male friend, and I had to pay a tax because you were a man, then I would get upset too.
Right, and I think that's what it.
And 18%?
18%.
Oh my God.
I mean, here in the States, that's like a minimum tip.
Right.
So you're basically, depending on how much food you're eating, 18% more of the bill on top of the bill to cover,
ridiculous.
The man tax. I mean, how many people are going to eat there? That's like the charging soda tax or sugar tax in the city of Philadelphia when they were doing that.
That's crazy.
Here's the thing: if you charge a tax for something that shouldn't be taxed, people will notice, and you won't stay in business long. And to me, I think that's what happened. I think they got what they wanted out of the Facebook stir, and as I said, they weren't expecting it to blow up in their face, and it did. It blew up harshly in their face.
That's crazy. That's ridiculous.
So after 2 years, the Man Tax Cafe is shutting their doors. That's not the name of it, but the Man Tax Cafe has shut their doors. The story is a little older. Actually, I don't think the story is not old. It's just behind and getting there. And maybe it took that long to get here from Melbourne, Australia. I'm not sure, but they're closed. So there you have it.
There you have it.
So in other food news.
Food news.
Yeah. And this also falls under the hashtag consumer alerts.
Oh, no.
So for those of you that drink bottled water and you shop at Walmart, Target, or Whole Foods, tests conducted by a California nonprofit found high levels of arsenic levels in 2 water bottle brands sold at Walmart, Target, and Whole Foods. The Center of Environmental Health found that pentophil. Have you ever heard of that? No, actually, it's pentophil because it's got that little squiggly over the end. So it's pentophil. No, I can't feel pentophil. No, I can't. Water and Starkey water. I never heard of them either. Contain higher arsenic levels in tap water, high enough to violate the California state guidelines. Interesting.
Yeah. That's weird.
Pentophil is owned by Keurig Dr. Pepper and is sold at Target and Walmart along with vendors.
Really?
We never heard of that, but we drink Keurig. I used to drink Dr. Pepper, but I haven't felt like a pepper lately, so I'm not a pepper. Are you a pepper? Is she a pepper?
Right. She's a pepper.
And Starkey Water is owned by and sold at Whole Foods. So you got to be careful.
Wow. Yeah.
And so that brings up a little.
That's crazy. That. Yeah. No.
Sidebar topic on that is all of the recent recalls for different foods. I don't get it. I mean, we have to eat to be nourished. We have to eat to stay alive. And there have been so many recalls with all different types of food.
Important things.
Yeah. Things that you take for granted as I open up a bottled water to drink it. Because my throat's very dry.
So, like medication recalls.
Yeah, that too.
They're the scariest.
Well,
one of my medications was recalled.
Recently, right, yeah.
Recently. And I'll tell you, that was scary.
Yeah, the thing that gets me about that is the FDA approves these drugs.
Right.
And then like 20 years later, they're like, no, don't take them. They're being recalled.
Right.
They cause cancer. They cause, you'll grow a third boob. They cause all this stuff. And it's like, how did you not know this when you approved it for human consumption? I mean, listen, that's your job. Your job is just to approve food and drugs for
Wow.
human consumption.
Right?
You know, I'm sorry, no takebacks. You can't come take it back years later and say it's not good for you.
And then, like, I'm confused because I don't know, because I don't have the lot numbers. So am I still safe to take it?
Yeah, the one that got recalled too. They sent you there was like a 7-page letter,
Yeah.
and I think 5.5 of those pages was like all the different lot numbers and the different formulas, because there's different formulas
Exactly.
of what you were taking,
Right.
you know, the dosages and stuff like that. And yeah, I mean, we had to go over that 2-3 times, looking at the different
Right.
bottles that you had. I
Right.
think we determined you didn't have any of them, but that's
No.
that hit close to home.
Yeah,
And then
that really did hit close to home, and I was left confused as to whether or not to take it,
right
and so I just said, you know what, I'm not taking it.
now, are you back on it?
No,
Are you on an alternative?
well, I'm on.
You don't have to say what it is. It's nobody's
Yeah.
business. But are you on an
No,
alternative or a
yeah,
replacement?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Last week, I had to text you and tell you that Ragu was being recalled.
Oh my God!
And we just bought Ragu because we never buy Ragu because we save money by buying
Right.
the Walmart brand.
Right.
But we were at
Which
Walmart.
is just as delicious.
Yeah, exactly. Not that we get paid for that endorsement, but the last time we were at Walmart was the second time in 2 trips that they didn't have any of their sauce that we like. And
I
this time you said,
know.
I'm just going to get Ragu. Okay. We're okay with Ragu.
Right, yeah.
And the one time in
because
like
that's what
15
we used
years.
to always buy.
Yeah. So the first time in 15 years we buy Ragu.
And it's recalled.
I mean, I don't get it. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
crazy.
As far as food recalls go, I guess what I'm wondering is, does something need to be, does the game need to be stepped up as far as food safety? You know, when we worked in fast food, we had to do that serve safe.
I know.
Like every year, or twice a year, we had to stay up on that. You know?
Yep.
Because that's scary. That's scary to think that you work at the Ragu factory, and what if you're the one that went too quick on a step, wanted to go home on time and not want to hang out over, and you're the one that didn't seal those jars enough and they got the salmonella. Can you live with that? I can't live with that.
No.
You're very sexy.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
So, consumer alert, folks, you know. And the thing is, and one more scary thing. I don't think we know the half of it. If I see an alert, I get it posted out there.
Right.
But what if you don't see it?
And here's the thing. When they put out an alert, all they say is the bare minimum as to what is wrong with the product.
But they'll give you a link to get more information from the actual manufacturer, and that's where you would go to get your lot numbers and everything. Although,
right,
you're right though. Most of the time, the news on it is very brief, and then it links out.
Oh, you know, when lettuce was recalled, and lettuce is recalled because of salmonella.
Oh, that was the romaine.
Yeah,
and you know,
and that's it.
And for a long time, even after I would say the acceptable period of everything going back to normal, there was a long time where places just weren't serving romaine. Like you couldn't get your Caesar salad.
Right.
You know, not only in stores, but if you went to a restaurant, certain salads weren't available because they went far beyond. Like there was a scare of people just didn't even want to deal with it. They didn't want to have it. And they didn't want to serve it in some cases.
Exactly.
So that was scary. But the Ragu thing.
And I think if I owned a restaurant, I would be the same way. If there was a recall on romaine lettuce, I wouldn't want to serve it.
If I owned a restaurant, it would just be kibasi and hot dogs because I know they'll be cooked perfectly fine.
Oh
You
my
won't have any
goodness.
issues. And if you do,
Oh my
eat the
goodness.
sauerkraut because that is strong enough to kill scurvy. So there you have it.
Wow. He's crazy, peeps.
Listen, a hot dog restaurant, hot dogs done all different kinds of ways. You know, Bossy and Kraut.
All right, peeps, come and save me.
I'm hungry all over again.
Right? That's crazy.
All right. So, finally, I think on this segment, I want to talk about this this employer that fired back at a New Hampshire lunch lady who gave a student free lunch. And so you can see why this kind of stuff pisses me off.
Oh, yeah.
So, a school lunch company that has been criticized for terminating one of its cafeteria workers for giving a hungry student a free lunch is firing back at its former employee. Bonnie Kimball, a lunchroom employee at Mascoma Valley Regional High School in Canaan, New Hampshire, was let go by her employer, Cafe Services, on March 28th after she gave a student lunch whose account showed it did not have enough funds to cover the $8 tab. In a statement posted to YouTube on Monday, an official with Cafe Services called Kimball dishonest and said the student in question hadn't been charged for anything for the previous 3 months. In this situation, the student was not charged for any part of the meal, according to Brian Stone, president of Fresh Picks Cafe, which is a division of Cafe Services. The employee told the manager that she charged the student's account for the lunch, but the manager later confirmed there were no charges on the account, so what the employee said was not true. Stone went on to say that every student in the lunch line gets a lunch, so there is no reason for Kimball not to charge the account. Since Kimball was fired, she said the student's account has shown regular activity. What a mess. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know why this comes up. Every once in a while, you see some sort of horror story come out that goes on in the lunchroom. You know?
Yeah.
Help me out here. Did we pay for lunch when we were kids? We ate lunch. We were just given lunch.
I know I didn't. My parents got free lunch.
That's what I thought we got. But nowadays you hear about, oh, well, you owe money, so you're getting a cheese sandwich and a bottle of water. No, seriously, that was in the news once too, because in that story, and I think I covered it last year, a benefactor stepped up, found out the total of all the lunch debt in the school district of all the kids, and paid the entire bill.
Wow.
So like every once in a while you hear these silly stories, and it's like, what is the problem? Can school districts or local governments not, okay, you're charging a student $8 for this lunch. What's that lunch costing you to make? Seriously, you and I have both been in the food service, and we know there's a thing called cost of sales.
Right.
And that is the amount of money you buy and sell for.
Right.
Yeah, I just, according to Kimball, she says, I made sure the meal was paid for. To me, letting that kid go hungry because he didn't bring in money that day, that would have been wrong. If the bill did not get paid, damn straight, I would have paid it out of my pocket. So,
yeah. I think I would too.
And it goes on, and a lot of it is like percentages. 364 out of every 1,000 students enrolled in that district receive free or reduced lunch. See, I don't get the reduced lunch thing. You know what I mean? Feed the kids.
Right.
Feed the kids.
The reason there's reduced lunch and not free is because the parents make enough so that, they can help pay a little bit towards it.
But don't I
even if it's $2?
Do I not pay school taxes, though?
Yeah. Well,
do I not pay school taxes?
You do.
I have no children in school, but I pay school taxes. They can use that money to buy the food and not have to charge the students anything. Then that will solve the problem.
Right.
I mean, but it's like any other piece of politics. The tax dollars are going to the wrong things.
Exactly.
I'm not saying I'm throwing my hat into any ring for school boards. I don't want to hear it. All I'm saying is, to me, it sounds like waste on somebody's part. So, anyway, I applaud her. This
Yeah,
is
me too.
right now. This is just a case of he said, she said, because, um, I guess she's embarrassed them so much after she left that they needed to get on board and fire back and say all these things. I feel like typically you wouldn't even hear from that company in a normal post firing. So she must have made them mad. So anyway, that is about all the time we have in this segment. So I'm
Alrighty.
going to wrap it down. And I'll be back. I know I'll be back for the final stretch.
Yeah.
With a new Wombat of the Week and a new Heroes to Honor and one last thing. So jmtalk.net, that is the website. And also Facebook at JM Talk and Twitter at JM Talk Radio. And I'm going to go wet my whistle and say goodnight, Sharon.
Good night, Sharon.
And I'll be back right after this.
This message is for all of you sitting in the passenger seat. And apologies if it gets a little uncomfortable, but how does it feel to be at the mercy of someone who thinks a random text is more important than your life? Someone who takes their eyes off the road while speeding along in a 3-ton hunk of steel. Freaky, right? Well, why not just ask them to stop? Or better yet, volunteer to text for them. It might be a little awkward, but believe me, you'll live.
Learn more at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Broadcasting from a crummy little studio in Baltimore, Maryland. This is Reality One Radio.
You see why we need your donations?
Welcome back to the Joel Michalec Show, folks. I'm Joel Michalec. Thank you for hanging out. This is what we call the final stretch of the show. And in this, among other things, is our Wombat of the Week segment and also Honor Thy Heroes. And so I guess let's just dig right in. First of all, if you're just tuning in, the way to reach out on the World Wide Web is at www.jmtalk.net. And from there, you can subscribe to the podcast. I encourage you to do so. That way, you never miss an episode. Also, if you are sad and lonely for a Joel Michalec show during the week, then reach out and click the 24/7 stream, and you can listen to us all week long while you're waiting for new shows to drop. Also, Facebook at JM Talk and Twitter at JM Talk Radio. So there you have that. So I guess we will start off with the Wombat of the Week. And as usual, it's a doozy. Now, I don't have my paper here. I usually actually read this part about a script. So let me see if I can do it out of my head, not too badly. If you want to get involved with the fun of Wombat of the Week, all I need you to do is submit your story of stupid people doing stupid things to wombat@joelmichalec.com. You can also send the story to joelmichalecradio@gmail.com, or I gave you the Facebook. It's at JM Talk. You can stop by Facebook and post the story. And we'll get it there. And that way you can get involved. If you don't hear your story that week that you submit it, it's okay because we stack them up. Sometimes we get so many good ones and we only have so much time in the show. So we'll move right into this week's. This week is a story coming out of, I know Europe. Oh, Berlin. Interesting. We don't usually get too many that come out of the States, but man urinating on a tourist boat from a bridge causes several injuries to passengers. I can't wait to read this because I don't know, was he pissing acid? I don't know. 4 people were injured after a man urinated off of a bridge onto a tour boat in Berlin. The city pleasure cruise was targeted as it passed underneath a road crossing on the River Spree. Oh, so he spreed into the River Spree. Berlin Fire Department said the incident caused passengers on the top deck to jump up and hit their heads on the low-level Janowitz Bridge. As a pleasure boat on the Spree passed under the bridge, a person urinated from above the ship, the fire department tweeted. Several people jumped and were injured while passing through underneath the bridge. And that's actually a little crazy. The injured passengers, including 3 women aged 38, 39, and 48, and a 54-year-old man, were discharged after receiving treatment for minor injuries. 16 rescue workers attended the scene on Friday. Police described the incident as abnormal and said the suspect had not been identified. So that's interesting. So not only did he take a whiz off the bridge, but they also didn't catch him. He got away with it. The audacity. So, I don't know, and this happened during the day. I don't know what drives a person to stop at a bridge in the middle of the day and take a leak off a bridge. And I'm not saying he targeted the boat. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is, what the hell? That's what I'm saying. What the hell? So do me a favor and be human about it and don't take a leak off a bridge. So anyway, the unidentified man, so I can't tell you who he is, but he has won the honor of being this week's Wombat of the Week. So that is that. Now, also, I wanted to tell you that things are dropping in the studio. No. So also, the same email addresses I gave out, we do this thing, it's Honor Thy Heroes, and it's basically, we've extended it in recent months to Everyday Heroes. And so if you have a story about an everyday hero, somebody in your locality, we don't always see different local newses, and which is a shame because there's a lot of good stories about good people that come out of localities that never make national headlines and get moved around. So if you're listening to the podcast and you know somebody who should be honored as an everyday hero, then you can send that also to joelmichalecradio@gmail.com or put it up on the Facebook in a message with the link to the story, and we will certainly honor them here on the program. And I think this week, after thinking about who we were going to do, we chose to recognize, if you haven't heard, and I think probably everybody has, but this past week, there was quite a drug bust, if you will, at the Port of Philadelphia by federal agents, or, I guess different agencies, a task force. They seized 16.5 tons of cocaine. Let me say that again, 16.5 tons of cocaine with a street value of somewhere north of $1 billion. Port of Philadelphia, that's kind of, it seems, it's not the first time, but it seems odd that drugs get into a port that far north. Everybody thinks it all comes across southern ports and southern borders. But I was digging into this a little bit during the week and actually found out that some of this, sure, cocaine comes out of Colombia for the most part, but it makes several stops on the way here. So it's almost like the cocaine's getting washed and filtered to make sure it gets here. And one of the stop-offs, I understand, is even Puerto Rico, which is a U.S. territory. And so this was a container ship, and I guess some of the containers, at least 16.5 tons worth of containers, had the cocaine in it. And boy, what a remarkable amount of drugs that did not make it to the streets of America. Thank God. Thank Goddess. Thank the universe. Thank whoever it is you thank. That, people will be at least that much safer from the evil drug. But, so I think that, I don't know how they were tipped off. I don't know what kind of police and crime work went into this. But what I know is that everyone involved in the task force deserves to be honored as a hero for their work in bringing that to a complete seizure and getting those drugs before they got onto the street. So we thought that this week, in lieu of that everybody involved in the task force, from the officers that were there making a seize to all the background people, everybody involved in every single way, would be donned with the Honor Thy Heroes tag this week on the show. So our hats are off to them. We applaud them for what they've done. And I think law enforcement gets a bad rap, and we like to think highly of them every day here in our little piece of the world. But other than the people who might be mad because of the bust, and I'm sure there's somebody who's terribly mad, we're honoring all the people involved in the task force for bringing this down on Honor Thy Heroes. So you guys are all you guys and gals are all heroes in our books here on the show. So there you have it. That is our Honor Thy Heroes segment. Hashtag Honor Thy Heroes. And you can help pass that around on Twitter. So, one last thing. That's the new thing I'm doing. If we end up moving Wombat of the Week or Honor Thy Heroes to other parts of the show, we'll never be able to move this because this is one last thing. And, one of the things I find amazing on Facebook is as soon as the first time in the fall or winter that temperatures hit 35 or lower Fahrenheit, people start screaming about the cold. And they can't wait for summer. And then we get blasted with all these memes about summertime. And all these memes about how cold it is. And then, before the first day of summer, you get all these memes about can't wait for snow. It's this many weeks until cold. It's so hot. I'm melting, and all this other stuff. It's just in the last couple of years, it's just been the routine. You kind of expect it now. So while you're complaining about how hot it is, I thought I would mention that in India, Bihar, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, Bihar, India, is in their third week of a major heat wave. Third week of a sustained heat wave. And 92 people, at least at the time of this story, which was Friday, at least 92 people have died in India's Bihar as the state remains in the midst of a punishing heat wave that's affecting much of the country, bringing with it droughts and hundreds of cases of heat stroke. The country is experiencing its lowest rainfall before monsoon season in over 6 decades. As I said, this is the third week of a heat wave set to become one of the longest on record. The majority of the recorded deaths in Bihar since June 15th have occurred in Gaya and Nuwanda, where temperatures have been around 45 degrees Celsius. Now, before I go on, I went, because I'm not familiar off the top of my head with how you convert Celsius to Fahrenheit and Fahrenheit to Celsius. So I looked it up and found out that 50 degrees Celsius is 122 degrees Fahrenheit. So 122 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, the hottest I can remember was actually when we lived in southern New Jersey, in Cape May, and we had about a 3 or 4 day sustained heat wave. And I think the hottest it got, now this was with heat index, was 115. And I remember that Sharon and I, we had the kids and the pets all in the living room because we didn't have central air, so we had an air conditioner in the window, doing the best it could. And we put army blankets on the steps to block the upstairs, Army blanket across the kitchen doorway to block that. So in this 12 by 14 room, we were trying to make sure that's where all the air went. I mean, if you went into the kitchen to get something or you had to go upstairs to go to the bathroom, I mean, you were sweltering because there was no ventilation. You could go outside and get no relief at all. And that's the hottest I recall it being. These people were dealing with 122 core temperature, not including heat indexes. So at least 562 patients have been admitted to government hospitals with heat stroke, and officials fear that the death toll will continue to rise. So also they say that the true death toll may never be fully known, as some heat-related deaths could not be officially confirmed, as the families took the deceased body before post-mortem. On Saturday of last week, 49 people died in Bihar within 24 hours. So, people have been told to stay indoors, naturally, and schools and colleges are staying closed at least until Wednesday. Markets have been ordered to close between 11 a.m. and 5 p.m., which is the hottest part of the day there. And Gaya and Darbaha have invoked Section 144, which bans all public activities during the day. The heat wave has affected almost two-thirds of the country, with the western state of Rajasthan seeing temperatures of 50 degrees Celsius. And as I said, that's why I pulled up. What is 50? It's 122 to you and me. So tens of thousands of people in drought-stricken villages have left their homes in search of water. So as you're laughing at or relishing on memes or making memes about how hot it is right now, because it got up to almost 90 degrees one day, think about what they're going through over there. And they're sustaining this problem. They're in their third week. It makes you think. I took pause when I read this. I mean, normally I would have just went right by this story, but it made me think of how much silliness we make about changes in weather. Oh, it's too hot. Oh, it's too cold. Think about what they're going through. That's really bad. So, that was one last thing. And it left me with minutes to go. It left me with minutes left on the clock. And I don't know what to do. I don't even know how to entertain you for these minutes. I don't. If this was a video, we could show you the art of knitting. Sharon could teach you the art of knitting.
Yes.
But we can't do that. So I think what it means is I'm shortened up. I'm gonna invite you all to visit the webpage. I'm gonna work on closing out then. Visit the webpage at jmtalk.net and subscribe to the show. And listen, send us some feedback. Sharon loves feedback, even negative. Not that we've ever had any negative, but she loves to hear feedback. So send us feedback. Send us topics you want discussed. No politics, please. And also stop by our Facebook page at JM Talk and come and say hi on Twitter or follow us on Twitter at JM Talk Radio. Meanwhile, remember, if you go to a park or a beach, or you're just out and about, pick up 3 pieces of trash, will you? And throw it out. Help keep this country a little bit cleaner. All right? So until next time, when we drop our next podcast, thanks for listening. And we'll catch you next time on The Joel Michalec Show. Goodbye.